Welcome to Telly Tadka.
Thank you.
And this has to be the scoop of, I don't know what century, year, whatever, but it's absolute pleasure for Telly Tadka to have all three of you together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sumia.
And we obviously want to talk about Four Lions, the company, the inception, the biggest hit that you have with your first project, Geet, and of course the way forward. So, do we want to just, who's going to start talking about
Inception,
Four Lions?
sure. Gorky will talk about it.
Yeah. Inception of the company actually, technically or non-technically, whatever, happened in 2008 when Dul and I came back from Indonesia.
Right.
And we came back to do a show for NDTV Imagine. It's called Chand Ke Parcheva. And we produced that. And the name, as you, we didn't get the name till very recently.
Right.
So we actually started our company, was officially under a different name, and we were operating Four Lions as a division.
Okay.
So yeah, but officially, I mean, Four Lions, the first show that they did, so we did that show called Chand Ke Parchal on NDTV Imagine, and then we did a show called Ganwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge.
Okay.
And so those two are under different names. Geet was the first show. Those two shows did not have Nissar in it because he was too busy doing other stuff.
He was the official director of Star One.
Yeah, so he was doing a lot of stuff for them. He was doing DMG.
He was doing all the stuff.
Lavne he did.
Mile.
So he didn't have any time. And finally, that was the first show under Four Lions, and Nissar came on board from there.
Right.
And you know the rest of the story.
Okay, we know rest of the story, but I'm sure everyone wants to know what is the story behind the story.
What's the story behind the story in the sense?
In the sense that, see, it's probably the only show which has the fan following it has on Facebook.
Yeah.
For Star One as well, it was a radical show in terms that it did garner the attention which Star One usually doesn't. So, was that a conscious effort that we want to do something different, or it just phenomenon that happened?
Yeah, see, to honestly, Geet, the concept had come to us from the
Channel.
Yeah, as Nissar was already directing a lot of shows for them, so it was we teamed up for that, and it was they had something which they wanted to do on honor killing, and they called us and they said to do something for us on these lines, and that's how it was devised. And in fact, we were remembering yesterday only when we first did it, it was not rating at all.
True.
At all means at all. I remember like the first episode when Nissar shot, we went to Bali and we shot it like a film, and there was a honor killing sequence, and it was like when we saw the first episode, we were like, wow, this is like a film. And then we all used to sit for hours to do the screenplay, and when the ratings came, it was 0.1. And I remember it was like we used to be like literally crying. Literally, मतलब कितनी मेहनत की, ऐसे shoot किया, ऐसे लिखा ये वो, and we just didn't know what is going wrong. And then we decided that on this channel drama is not going to go. And
Yeah, basically wanted to experiment at that point.
Right.
But,
Yeah, I
we
think,
came
I
up
mean,
with-
because, I could make out that, these two were apprehensive about doing drama on that channel, because I think Nissar knew, if I may use the word, he knew the pulse of Star One.
Right.
He was also apprehensive. Gul was also slightly, because she felt that they were kind of replicating, stuff.
other channels.
Other
And
channels.
why would somebody come to Star One and watch a drama? I mean, they have
Right.
better channels to go and watch.
Right.
That was one point. Obviously, we were. I think
But
after
we were
turn-
a little against it in the
against it
beginning.
in the beginning, but then the concept was very good, and obviously there was a love story in it. But the way we were planning, they were planning to start. I think there was a lot of discussion on screenplay. So how do we want to start it? And especially
On the
when we
first
started with the
episode.
honor killing, it was like bang on drama.
Very true.
So yeah. But even if we didn't start with the with the honor killing, and we would have shown a
The
lighter
love
side,
story
love
first.
story, and not the family could have been a little different. Probably it was a different show, but yeah, it was bang on drama from day one, and even they wanted to experiment because they were launching 2 shows together at that point.
True, Odni and
Yeah,
this
correct.
one. And other 2 shows that they had also, they were doing a little changeover. I mean, I saw the promo of the 4 shows.
Which other show was
The
DMG at
DMG.
that time went into season 2 with
They
Rizwan
were-
becoming the Bahu and
Bahu and all. So they were having a
ड्रामा कर दिया था ना
सब ड्रामा किया था.
मिलेगा भी, correct.
मिलेगा भी किया
Yeah,
था.
yeah, yeah.
they were
died
moving
na
to
Dupu died
yeah, they were trying to go to a scene where they can have drama on a channel which has a target audience which is very urban and very young. That was the target audience of Star One. Who watched Star One?
initially yes
Yeah.
but they wanted to break that
Yeah, they wanted to break that, but it
That
somehow
now-
did not work well
Yeah.
with them.
but they
They wanted to expand the range. But
True.
They wanted more people to come in, but I think it didn't work. Didn't work out.
But I think with Geet, they managed to do that. You know,
Geet,
I
because when we
think,
came to Delhi and the entire show only changed. The
it
office
went to
com-
rom-com zone it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
rom-com
yeah.
GC.
but in spite of that, I mean,
But I would say the drama really helped for what Geet
Became.
ran for 470 episodes. If the DNA was not that strong,
हाँ.
somebody who's carrying
Baby.
a baby and that too his younger brother's baby, it couldn't have happened in a rom-com.
Matlab,
Rom-com would have been a lighter zone.
Now
The
if
kind
you
of
look at
audience,
it gave us
the kind of audience that came in and the kind of popularity is just because we probably started on a drama and it was, very strong as the roots were very, very strong.
I think probably the drama element caught even the 70-year-olds and the 7-year-olds.
Correct.
Because
Otherwise, we would have had, generally, DMG
Love
also
for
had
that.
higher audience, but it didn't cater to, elderly ladies or, Geet had like no range.
Absolutely, it was all across the board. It
Yeah.
was all over the place. I mean, I guess we are examples of not being the younger crowd, so to speak.
Talk for yourself.
I am talking about myself, not her. So yeah, but what was it? Just the ratings that made you change the story and move to Delhi, or was it something that had to be done because the story had to move on from some place
See,
to another
I think we
place?
had experimented something and we were all convinced of what we did.
Right.
And it didn't rate. So,
We
probably
did
we
it
wanted
with
to
full
experiment.
conviction, even
How
that
it's full
part.
conviction, there is no, it was a drama.
True.
So I think that was an experiment which didn't work. But okay, we had to move on and probably we did another experiment. Probably this worked and get it little humor in it and let's leave the family aside and let's strongly get into the love story and get newer characters. I think that was also an experiment which worked.
And a lot of learning.
A lot of
We
learning.
have used that learning when we did Ispyar.
That was one of the questions I had. Is
it's visible.
yeah, it's visible
It
for
was
us.
designed. When we pitched the show to the channel, we said that we want to do Geet in a different way, in a bigger platform, in a fresher package. That's how it was sold. So it is not like that because we are the same makers, it's reflecting or something. It was
A lot
designed.
of things I think were similar, even the office space. I'm sure you would have seen that.
Yeah.
But then I think the office space, I would
Didn't
still
work.
say I also think we didn't do it with full conviction. So
They
probably
was-
it
they
would have
scared.
worked. Yeah, they were scared because office other than Jussie has never worked. So a lot of people have tried office, and I really don't think anybody has done it with too much of conviction. So it hasn't worked. If we would have done it with full conviction, it would have worked. But there was channel was not too comfortable with that space. And whatever little we did, it didn't work at that point. So it was a good decision to, I think, move into the house because all those elements were there in the house present, to play
Right,
with.
right.
Office was, I think, it was not required in the setup.
From the beginning.
So it was kind of a force fit right from day one. But we thought because it worked in Geet so nicely, so if you want to replicate things that work in Geet, we would say let's repeat this also. But that didn't work that well. But okay, it was nice. We went with the family. That space was very pretty. So it worked.
Right. Now, as a production house, you talked about a lot of learning. And obviously, one of the learnings that's visible to us is character development other than the leads. So, how do you go about creating a scenario where you have two people, of course, in a production what happens if the leads fall ill or you don't have dates or holidays. So how, as a production company, you tackle development, or do you just leave that to the creative side? I know you guys are all into the creative side as well, but how
See,
does
we
that
all
happen?
are directors, so
True.
we all develop stories.
Right.
And generally, development and artist falling sick is not connected. It is when you're shooting that their falling sick can affect us. But when we're developing, we just sit.
See, you can't develop thinking this will happen.
Yeah, when you're going with your conviction, you can't have a plan B.
Well, like the first script always sounds like a film because you write, you don't think kitna kharcha hoga, kya hoga, you write. And then when you get into production designing, you do a little
Tweaking.
Tone it down.
tweaking here and there, and then you come with the final script. So when it comes to development and character development, we do it with full conviction, thinking, कौन आएगा, अरे इतना budget,
कौन
ये
बीमार
वो.
पड़ेगा.
But otherwise, you can never make a good script.
Actor उस caliber का मिलेगा या नहीं.
And as long as actor management goes, I mean, every show has to deal with it. Like they say, like the first 100 episodes really go smooth. And after that, you can't blame the actors also. Yeah? मतलब, you're doing the same thing every day. You do get tired. You need a gap. And from our side, creative side, you push them, and you can't do this. You are the main lead. But yeah, they also have a point of view which is correct. You cannot work 30 days in a month for 12 months in a year.
And look
Cruel.
great.
And look great.
Yeah. So we are behind the camera, even if we are sick, or you can still manage work. Like you can work from home. But actors, no matter what, you have to tunnel. So we try to manage. I mean, sometimes that's why, like you said, the idea of making some other characters also equally important is because we have
Second track.
particularly Star One has always gone wrong with that. Not wrong because that's what works. The hero and the heroine, they take away all the space, and the other characters, like that's the difference between Geet and Ispyar Ko Kya Naam Do. Ispyar Ko Kya Naam Do, like Shyam and Anjali.
More
You
spread
can
over.
actually, it will definitely affect the ratings, but you can have half an episode where your hero and the heroine are not there.
Very
It can
true.
be managed.
Very true.
So that is the idea of developing the other characters with full conviction. Because Star One में ऐसा नहीं हो पाता था. Because you are so, you actually start living the main guy like Arman or
Yeah.
Man, and you cannot think left, right, even the channel doesn't want to think.
Even
So
if they're sick, so
finally,
you are like.
yeah,
jacked.
finally even if you want to write parallel tracks, Man lands up there also. So it is not a parallel
So,
track.
so there's no chutti for the main
No,
leads.
definitely they get their chuttis, they have got their chuttis,
But it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, when I say
the
chutti,
pressure
I
comes
mean
on the production team how to
how to tackle the situation, so to speak.
But isn't it also necessary from a story point of view to have side characters? Because any story in any person's real life is not limited to two people.
Yeah,
have
but
people
when
in
you
your
are
life.
making, Star One was chick flick.
Mm-hmm.
When you are making chick flick, it's all about romance. If nobody was interested in seeing Man's Nani.
No, and also, yeah, I mean, every story is there, the characters are there, but the point of view,
Has
point of
to
view
be.
किसका है? मतलब
Exactly.
every story, the novel, मतलब अब वो रेड राइडिंग हुड की कहानी आप रेड राइडिंग हुड के पॉइंट ऑफ वुल्फ के उससे भी अच्छा एक लड़की आ रही है लाल कपड़े पहन के. So the जिसका point of view आप pick up करते हो ना, that person becomes
The central character.
Yeah.
Very true. Now, looking at the other spectrum, Channel V, Humse Hai Life, and the youth aspect. Again, was it to break the genre, or was it something that you always wanted to do?
I mean, one really wants to, do different stuff all the time, and there are different channels which cater to different people. Like, I mean, like Nissar and Gul. I mean, they can handle the how should you say?
Wide spectrum.
Right.
Why or not?
The intricacies of domesticity and all of that much better, but I am per se quite at sea when it comes to that. So I mean, we've been trying to pitch shows or whatever to different channels, but nobody was biting, and this happened to come across. And then I think, as we've said earlier also, Hitesh, the writer, we were discussing what can we do in a different zone for, the youth, so to speak. Because again, going from the experiences on, Geet, because though I had not been involved in the show at all, but I was very active online, and so I also kind of got a feeling that so we're trying to figure out Hitesh. As I said earlier, he saw a documentary called The Boxing Ladies,
Right.
and he just said that एक लड़की है जो boxer बनना चाहती है. So we found that pretty interesting, and we took off from there, and then after that we just fleshed it out, and what would happen, where would she, the usual route.